I mean, there's no conflict in Niger per se. Okay, so triggering the standby force idea is what I term practicity in ECOWAS's response framework. That there rather ought to be a graduated set of responses as an internal crisis escalates. What we've seen is an automated response from ECOWAS from 0 to 100, making it difficult for them to pull back. Because the military intervention option is always the last option. Okay, but we decided to use that option. And then later on, when the 1 week passed and the junta was solidifying, decided to use mediation. Festus says only 8 out of the 11 member states were present. Now, 4 member states have undertaken a coup. Multilateral organizations function best when there is compliance to what they have voluntarily signed on to, and when there is a sense of bindingness relating to the values, the norms, the principles, and also the decision-making processes. If you look at the mechanism, Article 28.1, it specifies the processes for force generation that has not been followed. If you read or look at the structure, first defense chiefs would meet, the members of ministers of defense whose decisions would then go up for consideration. Quite a number of these decision-making procedures and processes have been hopped over, and then we have taken the decision of last resort. When caution is given, it's not because those of us who are seeking a bit of caution don't believe in constitutionalism. But I think quite a number of us are looking at the geopolitics of an intervention, the multiplicity of interests, but also the potential that it might open a Pandora's box of quite a number of groups who may align not so much with the constitutional debate that has shifted now to a debate around identity, self-perception, exploitation of national resources, and how national resources can be used to benefit the populace. So there are multiple discourses and narratives that an intervention might tie into that might lead to unintended consequences.
And Prof, that's one of the things I wanted to explore a bit more. But you've touched on the processes laid down in the ECOWAS's own rules that govern the activation of the standby force, which, as you've illustrated, they themselves may have violated. They've jumped the gun in many instances. But I want to bring in Festus Aboagye in on that point. If you consider that they've had at least 5 coups in the last 3 years alone in the sub-region, the latest, of course, being what we saw in Burkina Faso, and we've seen the Mali, the Sahel region is struggling. ECOWAS, many have suggested, in fact, if you listen to Abdel Fattah, who is the security chief, makes the point that there's a fear of contagion. And it says, if they do not deal with this decidedly now, then you risk encouraging others to follow suit. Doesn't that explain why they may have skipped their own processes and gotten straight to the end when it comes to deployment instead of first exploring the diplomatic option?
Well, the network dropped again. I've spoken with your producer to go off video and then talk via phone. So part of the question actually was lost.
Okay.
But my sense is that the decision is just a decision. its implementation is likely going to face quite a number of challenges. One of the challenges that I think we need to avert our minds to, because if it doesn't happen, the intervention cannot take place. It is a question of obtaining the Security Council sanction. Because the intervention falls within the framework of Chapter 7, use of force within the UN Charter. This requires that there must be a vote in the Council, and there must be at least 9 members that vote in support of that action. And out of the 9, all 5 permanent members of the Security Council must vote yes. It is not likely, under the circumstances, given all the information that we have, that Russia will cast a yes vote. Indeed, it's more likely for Russia to veto the whole enterprise. And that is the end of the game. The use of force option by ECOWAS should not take place if ECOWAS wants to be seen to be compliant with international law.